Hi guys, it's me. My sign's all messed up, but I got a dog in my lap. Look at this sweet baby. Oh, look how big she got. Remember she was an itty bitty puppy? She's my little angel baby Soba. I got her croissant. All right, so I just got done. I'm a little teary-eyed. My makeup got a little messy. My sparkles blurred because I just got done talking to Avery. Heather trance channeled him for me, and I've never had an opportunity to speak to him without an audience. So it was just he and I. And it was real sweet. We talked about simple things and some sexy things, and it was just real nice. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because it's on my mind right now. Oh, this is really bothering me. Oh, she's giving me kisses. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it. Oh, sweet baby. Okay, so this episode of Silver Linings, I had Jason back, and I wanted to speak about body image because, I'll go all the time on and on about how being a human, and we're here to learn self-love, self-empowerment, all of this stuff to make life easier, to grow ourselves spiritually. And one of the ways we do that is through self-image. And I just wanted to share a little bit about, what that means, about, I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm so distracted right now because I just had that amazing time with Avery, and I do want to get this video out, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep this, whatever it is. So we went ahead and we had Dr. Ruth come back because last time we made the mistake of thinking that she was dead, and she was not. So I talked a little bit about that. Erik came and talked a little bit about things because I wanted to explore about my body dysmorphic disorder and what that meant. Do I still have it? What people can do about it, et cetera, et cetera. So I spoke a little bit about that, and because it's me, I had to turn it into sex a little bit. So we spoke about how body image can play into sex and how it can inhibit it. And I got to be honest that this, what expansion and ascension really is just information. It's just understanding things. So that whole video that you guys are just about to watch, my meeting with Jason, was really about understanding things and letting things soak in. So even though I'm still a work in progress, I do feel better. Having that session with Jason really made me feel better about myself, and I feel more confident about when it is time for me to be intimate with somebody, because I was very shy and uncomfortable about that, and I really feel like that's one of my main inhibitions, is just being naked for somebody. Ooh, I dread that, but I feel a lot better about it now. Where you going, sweet baby? Ah, there she goes. Oh, here's your croissant. She's so sweet. So we spoke about that, and when I later on, after I had that video with Jason, I went out to lunch with my friend Sarah, and I said, I had Dr. Ruth there, and I had Erik there, but mostly it was just me and Jason yakking. And Spirit even said something. I think it was Dr. Ruth. I think it was her. Said something like, I apologized for not including them more in the conversation, and she said, oh, you guys are doing fine. And what Sarah said was, we are in a new place where we are learning how to depend on ourselves, rely on ourselves, and less on what Spirit has to say. So in that context, it made me feel better. She's like, you guys did it right. If the humans are figuring it out, what do you need Spirit for? So just Jason and I talking about our experiences and our feelings, with some help from both Erik and Dr. Ruth, we kind of put some things together. And I haven't spoken to Jason since then, but I hope that he got something out of it too, and just felt a little bit better about the times when he doesn't feel so great. It's just part of who we are, and maybe take that and grab some empowerment from it, like I did. I'm just gonna strut my shit when the time comes, with the light off and the shirt on. But for real, I'm gonna be less worried about it when the time comes. Maybe by the time it will come, I will have absorbed enough of this to just go balls deep, baby. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on my ride with me. And I never even bothered to change my clapperboard. It's got the last episode on it, so I'll go really fast. So here we go. Jason and me talking about body image and sex with Dr. Ruth and Erik. Working some shit out, expanding and growing. And Action. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. Hi, guys. Look who's back. I got my guy Jason with me.
Hola.
We're gonna talk. Well, I always like to talk the sex talk with Jason, but we're gonna start off with something else that, for me personally, kind of relates to sex in a way. And we're gonna talk about body image. And one of the reasons that I want to talk about this, there's a few reasons. One of them is because I know in my journey that I have suffered from that body dysmorphic disorder. And I remember at the very, very beginning, I got a reading from that guy, Justin Schmoyer. I'm always yammering about. I love him. He asked me, he goes, "Do you feel pretty?" And I go, "Sometimes." Because, we all have a good day, but it was very rare. And I've mentioned a few times in other videos that I reached that place of feeling pretty. And I'm uncomfortable to say that, but at the same time, as humans, our self-image plays so much into how, we feel and view our personal world. So I'm not saying that I'm like a standard of beauty. That's not it. I'm saying that it's nice to be able to feel pretty, no matter what, what you look like. When you feel it, it's nice. But and then you were saying something to me, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to go with this route with you, was because you were getting tired of all of the pressure to look a certain way or whatever it was. Tell me about exactly what you were getting icky
Uh,
about.
I'll be honest with you. I think that everybody has body issues.
Okay.
I think even the people that other people look at and they're like, "Oh my God, I would love to look like that."
I think you're right.
Like those people still have issues of
I
some
agree.
sort. So it's. Have you ever heard? I don't want to go the whole like sexuality route.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that there's pressure, regardless of who you love,
Mm-hmm.
there's pressure to look a certain way,
Yeah.
right? But have you ever heard the phrase straight man skinny, gay man fat? So
Tell me.
if you were a straight man and you weighed a certain weight, you're skinny. But if that person is now like gay, right? Like the gay man weighing the same amount is considered
Ah,
obese within the community, right? Because there's a
I get it.
stereotype or a standard. Um, and like body image is always this was something I've always, even in the days where I was like, oh, I'm beautiful. Like there was a stretch of time,
You own
two,
it.
like there were like 2 or 3 years where I was like, you know what, I am attractive, and I'm a catch. I was
Uh-huh.
positive and all this. Well, you don't stay that way. I always fluctuate. So I'm not at my thinnest right now, which whatever. I'm not at my prettiest right now. Compared to in the past where I felt like,
Right.
um, and it sucks to feel that way.
It
It
does. And it's
and
our
like
own pressure on ourselves.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Because
I'm
I have
battling this 10 pounds, and I think nobody would notice if I lost it or not. It's numbers on a scale to me, but I can't deal with it.
and
Nobody
as hard as like I have a very hard time taking compliments. So
else.
like even if somebody's like, "Oh my God, you look great," I'm like, "Okay, thanks." Like
Or you
I'm like,
find
"You're
some way
my
to self-deprecate it. I'm like,
right. You're
it's
my
all
friend."
photo blur. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that
You're my friend. You're just telling me that. So I do think that it is something that everybody, at least at some point, even if you're not currently doing it, at some point you probably did.
too.
But what's the difference? Like you have people that they either find the confidence or they have always had the confidence, to just be who they are. Like one of my really good friends, Jackson, like he's a bigger guy. He's the first one to take his shirt off in public, like
Don't you
he,
admire that?
I love it.
I mean,
Like
I'd be like both horrified and admiration at the same time.
yeah, he's just like, you know what? He said, "This is me. Take it or leave it." Like because he loves himself. Like without a doubt, like
You know
just
who?
exudes confidence.
Who inspires me is my daughter, is Layla. And
Yeah,
I look at her and I'm gonna sorry to say this, but I look at her and sometimes like she's got like a little teeny tiny bit of belly hanging over the edge of her pants. It's no big deal. It's completely appropriate. But in my world, you need to be perfect. You can't even have like the bra bumps
Right.
back. So it's me that's fucked up in my perception. So when I see
Right.
them owning that and not caring about wearing a tight top, I'm like, I love you. You're so beautiful, just the way you are. So she inspires me.
So I have the conversations with myself. I'm like, how do I get to that point? Like I have come to the realization that at least without plastic surgery, I will never be, like I'll never be the people on TV. I'll never be, even if I go to the gym every day, like I'm never going to look like that. Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I still can't try to be the best version of myself. But I feel like even if I had, the six pack and, perfect skin and all this, like
you can still find a way to
I
hate
would,
yourself.
I would still be, I know that I would still be like somewhat self-conscious. I may be able to fake it easier, but it's always still going to be in the back of my mind.
And you'd find something wrong. Because
Yeah.
I lost all that weight. I lost 40 pounds, but all I can do is like get pissed off at myself because I haven't lost the other 10.
Yeah.
Back the fuck off, girl. You look great. And I can't own that.
I look back at pictures and I'm like, I was so skinny. But I remember being in that picture and being like, oh my God, suck in.
Yes, you don't appreciate it. I know.
Now I'm like, damn it. Can I go back to that?
So I think that, the way we look is definitely a spiritual, opportunity for growth, how we perceive that kind of stuff. And so let me ask Erik to chime in. Is Erik here?
Uh-huh.
Hi, Erik. How you doing, baby?
He's good. I've been messing with him all. This is not him because he doesn't care. But I've been messing all morning with him because I've been, scrolling through social media or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then every time I see his name spelled wrong in my head, when I'm reading it, it's with a K in my head. It was a K.
That's my own peeve too. I can't stand that.
But he doesn't care because they're sending him whatever they're thinking about.
It's called worse than Erik with a C.
But in my mind, it cracks me up. So like I've been kind of poking fun with him. And so we've kind of had a little bit of discussion this morning. And he said that like the body image, or the perception of how you look, it's not the way that we're meant to be, right? Like if we were in alignment, so to speak, or with our true self, then we would acknowledge that, I'm beauty, like I'm God, right? Like, but there are people that choose as a lesson, right? Like something to try to overcome.
Yeah.
That they come in looking we all come in looking a certain way because we want to.
Right.
But whether it's a impairment, a handicap, or
right.
Whatever the case, you come in and you've always just been big your entire life, or the opposite, you've always been super, super skinny, because the body image works both ways. Like when it comes to weight, it works both ways. Like I know a lot of people that I would love to look like you, and they're like, I'm so skinny, I can't, I wish I was bigger, I hate it.
Yeah, I got no carbs, I'm just a board. I get it.
Yeah, like it's it's one extreme to the other. But some of it is lessons, right? Like coming in to try to overcome, but a lot of it is because of the perception that we see in the public, so to speak, like TVs and movies, magazines. Like it's always these quote unquote beautiful people that have kind of set the standard when that's an unrealistic standard.
Yeah.
Like you never see a magazine full of just normal looking people. You never have a movie with just normal. We're always the background characters, right? The blur is never they're never the ones that are up front. So we have it's a false sense of what
the standard
is.
Yeah, absolutely. The TV completely ruined me. I know it did.
Yeah. And I watched when you were messaging me earlier, like, hey, in about an hour, whenever I was scrolling through, and my friend had posted this video of these two ladies belly dancing that she had went and watched, and I was like, you know,
Did they have big jiggly bellies and they owned
yeah,
it?
you know, like they weren't, yeah, like they weren't, you know, they were normal, like they were your, you know, like,
Right. They're a
and
little
I was
squishy.
just like, I was like, God. I mean, and she's doing this, and you know, everything's arms are still moving, like everything's just kind of moving, you know. But I was like, she owns it, and she look like she's having so much fun, and she's so free right now in the moment. And this is fucking body empowerment, you know. Like
Body
I just
empowerment. I love
loved it, and it was. I thought it was random that because I knew we were going to talk about this.
that.
I thought it was random that those two videos popped up after we were talking about like body image and things. You know, I was like, like, why? What does it take to get to that point? You know,
What
and like,
does it take? Eric, help us. Why are we so stuck on?
so we. So this is the thing. This is the thing. People will bitch and complain about an issue, but won't put forth the effort to change the issue. We think that just bitching and complaining about it is going to somehow summon this magic wizard that's going to be like, oh, you want this to change? Poof, here you go. The truth of the matter is that I'm not trying to be mean because I don't take this in offense because it is me. People are lazy.
Fuck, I hate
Or they are, and I am. I get it. I admit that's probably one of my worst. That's probably my worst attribute is that I'm lazy, or I can be extremely lazy. I'm like, oh, I really need to do this, but no, no, I just don't feel like it. And he's like, he's not going into like talking about depression, but when you don't feel like it, like you could say, like, okay, you're depressed about that issue, and then you start thinking about I need to change this issue, but then the depression comes back in and says, no, why? It's not going to do anything for you. You're just wasting your time, and it's like the circle, right? That just keeps on looping. It's like the only way to feel better about yourself is to put forth an action that kind of puts the energy towards the thought and the emotion of feeling better. But you're still not you, but no matter how much work you put in, let's be honest about it, whether it's body issue or other issues. I could be an alcoholic and be sober for 15 years, but it's still something in the back of my mind, right? That, oh, I would love to go have this drink, or, oh, it would be nice to celebrate with a drink. It's the same thing with the body issue. Let's say that you get into the best shape of your life. For most people, you're still going to have that little thought of, I'm still not good enough, or, oh, I shouldn't wear this, or, no, I don't want to take my shirt off. No, I'm not going to wear this two-piece. No, can we turn the lights off before we fuck? Like,
fuck yeah.
You're still going to have
no touch zone. I gotta no touch zone.
But can it be managed and overcome? He says, yeah, absolutely. And he talks about, he's kind of referencing my story with my friend, Jackson, that wasn't always like that, but just got to the point where he said, fuck it, take it or leave it. Like,
that's where I want to be now, because I'm really on the and when I talked to Minerva, she said, because I'm over it. I would just like to just not give a shit about this extra 10 pounds. But based on what Minerva said, she's like, are you really over it? Because you keep talking about it.
Right.
So I know I still have a problem with it. So I feel like, I don't know. And I kind of try to give myself a break, because in my path, eventually everything has happened that was supposed to happen. So I kind of try to back off and not beat myself up if I'm not there yet. But I don't. Okay, so I'm going to make this personal reading time. Erik, is there something that's holding me back? Minerva said that it was just a matter of not exercising enough and having reached a plateau. But
that's exactly what, because when you were talking about it, it's exactly what he was saying. He said, you've got to change it up. Like, we're like, oh, I'm going to diet, and diets will work, but then you get to the point to where it's the laziness part, right? Like, or it's going to take the extra effort of, no, now you've gotten to the point to where this is what they tell me, like, you have to work out, like dieting alone is not going to do it.
So I am confused as to why I've had no progress, because I've been.
He says you've got to change it up. Are you
even more? Okay.
So if you're doing the same type of exercise every day, you said you're on a bicycle, like, you've got to change it up.
Okay.
because just how your body, he says, just how your body will plateau with a diet, with a change in the calories or what you're eating,
Is it kind of
your
like,
body will plateau with the same type of exercise. That's why you see
okay,
people that, you know, will focus on upper body one day, lower body one day, and it
okay,
is very much a full body
all right.
exercise. So, you know, by all means keep on the bike, but then if you know, if you want to go walking around the neighborhood or getting some weights to lift, doing push-ups, whatever,
I need to do some
um,
sex.
right?
So is it a fair statement to say that a plateau is like in this situation, like a synonym for acclimating? It's like your body's used to that.
Yeah, it's gotten used to it, and so
Okay.
you have to switch it up.
Okay, that makes sense
Um,
because, Minerva said it, I'm not holding on to, emotional crap anymore.
yeah,
And I really don't want it to be that yet. I still beat myself up about
and well, you
it.
know, and like I I can't say this is for everybody, but like for me, um, I believe like my ups and downs for the most part have always happened for a reason,
Sure.
because I feel like I haven't really changed anything that I'm doing. You know, like when I was losing weight, whether I put it on and lost it again, or put it on and lost it again, like at least within the last 8 years or so, like I'm not doing anything really any differently. So why do I go through periods where I've gained 20, 30 pounds? Why do I go back to periods where I've lost that 20 or 30 pounds?
Why is
You know,
that?
and I feel like it's got to be like whatever I've planned for. I don't know how to describe it, but
Because,
I know that, like, I know that I was bigger in my teenage years, right? All through high school. And then after high school is when, and what's weird is it was me and my brother, because I have a twin brother.
Uh-huh.
So we both put on the weight at the exact same time, right? Like senior year of high school, after high school, it all just came off like naturally. Nothing,
Nice.
And then like we've kind of gone back, and it's so weird because now like I had lost and he had gained, and now he has lost and I've gained.
You're switching it up.
I'm like, can we just balance it out? But I think right now, currently, why I've put on 20 pounds or whatever is for me to find self love, because I'm also like, doing the whole I'm tired of being single shit, right?
Right.
But and so then it makes me focus on my appearance, because I'm like, why am I not good enough?
Mhm.
Right? So then I'm like, I know my fucking personality is amazing, so it's got to be the way I look.
Yes,
like
that's my only
right?
insecurity because I know I'm a fucking catch, but I got
Yeah.
belly.
And so, I know that it's a correlation of when I start loving myself more. I know that the weight will kind of come down a little bit. I'll feel more confident. I know that it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't put too much pressure on yourself because, on the spiritual path, we know that will fall into place when it's time when we get
And
there.
what sucks is like, even though you know that, and even though deep down you wholeheartedly like believe it and you understand, like you understand the process.
Yeah.
You're still like, can we be done with it? Like, this
Yes.
is fucking stupid. Can we fast forward? Like, something. Can we make a change?
And I feel like I'm going to switch it up just a tiny bit, but I feel like, when you were mentioning earlier that when you come in with like physical crap or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I kind of set myself up because I live in America where, our diets are shit,
Right.
dollar menu at McDonald's. And I have this condition. I promise I'm not being whiny, but I have polycystic ovary crap. And that tends to put weight on too. So I feel like I've like done double sabotaging, but intentionally. I mean, like as in Fairy Girl has chosen this for me. So I would have this extra bit of challenge to overcome so that I can find that self-worth. I'm pissed that I don't have it despite all of the hard work I've already put in, all the success I've had.
I also think that we are harder on ourselves, because I feel like unless you just fake it very well, I feel like you have self-worth.
I really do.
And like, and I get it because I'm the same way. It's you understand how awesome you are, right? And that's not to be all whatever. I'm sorry, but I'm fucking awesome.
I'm the shit.
You're fucking awesome, right? Like,
we are.
Everybody watching this, you're fucking awesome. And in the whole grand scheme woo woo thing, you know,
Right.
you are exactly who you are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And who you chose to be, and you picked to look this way for a reason. That doesn't mean that you still don't have control over the vehicle, right? Like I can always go paint my car a new color.
Mhm.
I can add accessories. I can take stuff off. Like I can alter the vehicle if I want to, but it that takes action, you know. And I sometimes I feel like if you have people that are just automatically meant to be a certain way, and no matter what they do, you know, it may be something that you can't change.
Yeah.
But
There are
for,
things you can't.
you know, like if I don't have an arm, you know, like
Right.
I'm not part lizard, I can't grow another one, you
Right.
know.
Right. So,
Um,
and I kind of made a mistake on my last video. I'm glad you brought that up because I said when I was going on about attachments and, you know, you've done it all to yourself. So figure it out why you did it and then get over it so you don't have to deal with it anymore. Well, you can't not have
right.
an arm, but you can get rid of the issues you have without having that
Yeah.
arm. So
Right.
I got to, you know, restate that because I didn't mean to be insensitive to people that, you know, can't change what they physically have.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like, you know, really, if we wanted to tomorrow, and it may not be a change that happens tomorrow, you know, we could start with the positive mantras. We could start putting in action, you know, and like if it's something that's changeable and it's something that you don't like, then it's not going to get better by itself, you know. Like if it's something that you can change.
It's so hard to know too how to change. You don't even
Yeah.
necessarily know how to feel better because I'm going to go back to my last video and John Francois, he said you can skip this lesson and just decide already that you have the self-worth. But I didn't know what the lesson was. I didn't know what I was
Right.
seeking. So I truly had to go through it. So it's not always easy to know what it is, but just keep setting those intentions that you want to grow and learn, and you know your higher self will allow that information to trickle in. We'll get there. So
And you know, even if it's like stop beating yourself up. And I know it's easier said than done. It's so much easier like giving advice than actually taking it. But like we all have got to stop beating ourselves up, you know, over whatever the condition is. And I think that, you know, like anytime and I would do it, I would do it for a little bit and then I would lose track or I'd forget what I was doing. Like every time I would have a negative thought about myself, I would tell myself the opposite a certain number of times. Like if I say it 4 times, it's going to cancel out the one negative. But you know, you don't even have to say it. You can just think it or say, you know, nope,
right.
I retract that. That's not how I feel. Um, but you know, it's part of the decluttering process. You know, like you're still gonna have those negative thoughts about yourself. And the key is acknowledging or realizing when those are happening, and then
Retrain.
changing the thought to retrain. It's just like if I was gonna part my hair a different way, it's not gonna immediately fall perfectly. I have to train it to way like the opposite the way that it was. That was the stupidest um, analogy.
I'll bail you out then because I'm going to go back to when you were talking about how your weight fluctuates, but you haven't done anything differently. Fairy Girl once told me, or one of the me's said that the guilt that you feel from being overweight exacerbates that weight. So just the energy can make you heavier.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, maybe that's part of what, you know, your reasons for going up and down is just, you know, your own self thoughts about yourself create that extra weight. That's trippy to me.
Yeah, and you also have people that will say that it's a defense mechanism, like you're padding yourself against the outside world. It's like you're creating a physical barrier.
With that. I kind of agree with that. Do you?
Yeah, it all makes sense to me. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Because you know what? Because when I used to read about my narcissistic mom and the cutting that I would do, every single one of the girls that were in my same like statistics, they were all overweight, and it said that you know, cover yourself up with fat to hide underneath it. So, you know, getting this fat off is a true shedding of more than just the weight. Me coming out and not having all that garbage that my mom dumped on me.
God, if only I could go back in time. You know, I'd be like, you fucking run 10 miles every day, damn it, Jason.
I know, go on, you fat ass. Just kidding. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this a little bit towards the sex part.
Okay.
And I don't even know where I want to go with this, but I'm highly motivated because I want to get Dr. Ruth back because I love that we fucked up. Because somebody called us out and said, "Why are you guys talking about her like she's dead? She is not dead. She is alive. She is old, but she is alive."
I was like, that bitch is dead. No offense. I was like, she is dead. Like,
so she's there. Since you're no offense to her,
yeah,
she's there.
like, you could not have convinced me otherwise. And then I pulled it up and I was like, holy shit, she's like 92, 93, 94, something. She's in her 90s. She's still going.
Why
She's still going.
Are you so sweet to not correct us? I appreciate that, and I got such a huge kick out of it. What'd you say?
Yeah, it's a feeling of, like he was going. It's almost like to me, right? Like he was going into it with the expectation of I'm dead. So I mean, why correct him? Like,
and how did that feel to you as a spirit? I feel like
she doesn't care. Like, okay. You know, she doesn't care. But then I was like, well, what was that? Right? Like, am I just making stuff up? You know, like it. You know, like I was like, what? It was just confusing.
It is hard for people to grasp that, but if we can talk about fairy girl, that's my higher self.
Right.
So you can talk to anybody's higher self.
And so the way that they explained it to me, in this situation, is that I mean it is higher self, but there's no time.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
So why couldn't I be talking to dead Dr. Ruth?
Exactly.
Right? You know,
that
like
too. Yeah. You can talk to dead Dr. Ruth or alive Dr. Ruth's higher self. There's two
right.
That.
Yeah. Like, and so I was like, well, okay, and because when I was having the conversation, they were like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. You were talking to Dr. Ruth. It doesn't matter. But then I was like, but it does matter. I'm arguing with them in my head. I'm like, right? It does matter. Like, it matters to me. Like, I need an explanation. Like, I know I may not understand the physics, you know, like, or whatever, but break it down. Like, and so that was the kind of the.
Did you get it now?
Yeah, that was the simple explanation for it. But then I saw somebody else the other day had posted, it may have been Sarah, that she had talked to the higher self of someone that was still here. So I was like, well, okay, like people do that. So that is a possibility.
I got in that big trouble with Denise and that mighty healer whose name I will not mention. So
right, yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's completely possible. And then, you know, Alice and I on the Shiny Show, we did higher selves of the guests, and we did all the higher. You know, I picked people out. Who did I get? Like Snoop Dogg, Grumpy Cat, Oprah, Stephen King. I talked to all of these higher selves. So
yeah, it was. I was, like I said, you could not have convinced me otherwise. I was like, no, I was like, she's dead. Like because she's right. Like she's right here to me. She's dead.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being so graceful with that. And how I'm going to like segue into the sex thing is I guess just going back to body image is I accept myself completely. You complimented me earlier on this color. I got this shirt yesterday and I'm looking at myself. I'm like, this shirt looks good on me. I look just fine in clothes. But I'm not always going to be dressed. And I have to be naked in front of people. And I am so nervous about that. Dr. Ruth, can you offer any advice to me about my complete discomfort? Because I got these young men, and the one, he's so beautiful.
The first thing she said was find someone that makes you feel comfortable.
Okay.
Right? Like, be with someone that accepts you 100%, flaws and all, because that will also, especially in the intimate moments, that will, you won't even, it's not boost the confidence because you won't even have to worry about it because it's, I feel like she wants to call you honey, like, honey, but if you're not comfortable with anything, then you don't have to do it. If you want to wear not to say that for me, I'm always like, oh, these people are going to want me to be naked. And I'm like, okay, but I would feel more comfortable. Let's say, can I wear
my sweatshirt?
Right. But
my sexy sweatshirt.
Mona, I'm sorry, Mona. She's all in my lap. Say hello. Mwah.
Hi, baby.
Ow. She's like, no. But if you're not comfortable with it, then don't do it. But it all comes down to, it's kind of weird is there have been moments where I've just been like in the passion of it, in the heat of it. That's just find your passion. Because if you can't go for the mutual, if you can't go for the person that just loves you 100%, go for the person that the sexual chemistry is just electrifying. Because when you're in the moment, that energy takes over. Now, when you're done, you may be like, oh,
give me my blanket.
You may go back to like modest. But like in the heat of the moment, when it's at those sparks and the electricity, you don't, and they don't care, like.
That sounds right too. Doesn't it sound right when you're like in the throes of passion? You are just not going to care.
Not to say, but I still think about it. Oh wait, no, let me get back to my good angle. Like
I don't know how I'll be. It's been decades. I have no idea how I will be.
I think
shots and not give a shit.
Hey, and yeah, I mean, it does help.
That's what Erik told me one time. It's like, have a couple beers before you go to your party.
That definitely does help.
Loosen shit up a little.
Yeah.
Well,
relaxes you.
Have its purpose. All right, so Erik, can we analyze me for a sec? Do I still have this body dysmorphic shit? Am I over? I don't know. What does he have to say about that? And is
Do you want the
thing?
Yeah. Do you want the honest answer?
Yeah.
You will always have it to some degree.
Okay.
Not that it will overpower you like it has in the past, but yes, to some degree.
Okay.
He goes back to the reference of like the alcoholic. Like, even though you're over it, but it's still always something that may linger. Will you find your confidence like in the moment? He says yes, and you are. I mean, you're doing that now, right? You're on your way to that. He's just like, just let it hang out. Like just let it hang out.
I think I'll be okay with the older men, but it's those young ones that make me nervous.
And this is me. You never know what someone is attracted to.
That's true.
Right? Like, I have seen.
That is very true. I told you I get turned on from the alien porn.
I have seen people together that I'm just like,
what the fuck?
How did how did that happen? Like, and then I'm like, he fucking loves you. Like, like it's always, and it's always like these really strong relationships. And I'm just like, you
go.
Like, and then you assume and it's bad because it's us assuming, you assume that, oh, well, this person, right? Like, this person they could have anybody, That's when I'm like, oh, they got a big dick. That's why they're with them.
They got a pocket full of money. That's funny.
Yeah, like, oh, sugar daddy, or okay, yeah, we know what's going on. But like, he's like, you never know what someone is attracted to. So there could be someone that gets super turned on off of the things that you are insecure about. Like, you never know. He was, like, you never know what someone is attracted to. But it still comes back down to our level of being comfortable. I think the more comfortable you are with someone, the easier it is. Yeah. What I always hated was the after, like, let's take a shower together. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Really?
The lights off shower. Let's do it.
And I'm just like, like, why? Yeah, it can be sexy, but for the most part, I'm just like, I'm vulnerable. Right? Like, and now it's like, can you move up from under the shower head? Like, can I get up under the water? But that's got to be like one of the most vulnerable. Like.
I know.
But like I don't know. I think the more comfortable you are with somebody, and the more sexually, or the more it doesn't have to be sexually, but the more attracted you are, and like the more you love.
it's because of this, and I think everybody is like this. All of even the Muggles are like this to a certain extent. But somebody on a path like mine, in particular, twin shit, because I'm mostly worried about the twins right now, is that it doesn't even matter what I look like because it's going to be an energy thing. And I'm going to go to Avery. I've never seen him with these eyes, but I love him, and my sex attraction is pretty big.
Right.
So it doesn't even matter. And I tell myself that all the time. They're going to love me anyway. It doesn't matter. But still, it doesn't matter what they think. It's what I think. It doesn't matter what the world tells me. It's my own internal dialogue and core beliefs that I'm trying to get rid of. So I don't really know if my answer is deciding right now that I don't give a shit, loving myself now, or go ahead and pushing through that 10 pounds and earning it then. And I've always had this kind of struggle, but having lost that 40 pounds, I realized that I could not be happy in that other place. So I think it's the case, same right now, is that I'm not going to be happy until I reach that goal. I can't skip it. I got to get to that motherfucking goal.
Yeah. And if he said something like, "Why can't you do both? Like, why can't you?"
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. Like, why can't they be created at the same time?
Yeah.
Lose the weight while earning that self-acceptance at the very same time, and it will just, even itself out. Uh-oh, tell me. I want to hear how stupid.
He's just like, I'm so smart. I'm so smart.
Oh, Erik.
But it does make sense, like, to be at a point of, you know what, like, fuck those last 10 pounds. Like, I'm perfect the way that I am.
Yeah.
But, and we can say that, but like, because this is the thing. I feel like he's jumping around. When do we get to the point of enough is enough? So if I lose the 10 pounds, who's to say that I'm not going to be like, oh, just 10 more?
I thought about that too, because I've already my goal was 30 and I'm at 40 and I still want to go another 10.
He says, if you get to the point where you can just accept yourself the way that you are and say, fuck it. And that doesn't mean that you still can't take action to make yourself the healthiest version of yourself. So if you did want to go another 10 pounds, another 10 pounds, another 10 pounds, as long as it's not an unhealthy obsession,
I can live another 30 and still be healthy.
Like, just getting to the point to no matter where you are, you have that confidence, and that self-love. And so I get it. I'm like, I'm like, I'm like, but you were skinny. Like he was skinny.
Did you have any body issues, Erik?
That's what he was just saying. Like, he's like, everything wasn't perfect for me. Yeah. He said, I may not have been overweight, but skinny kids get picked on. Tall, skinny kids even get picked on just as much. It may not be called the same names, but people still make comments, and you still have insecurities. But yeah, I'm like, I'm such an asshole, because I'm just like, yeah, I get it, but I would rather, and maybe it's because I've only really ever been at one extreme and never the other.
Oh, believe me, I would love to be skinny. I would love.
I would rather suffer through the I would rather suffer through the insecurities of being too skinny than suffer through the insecurities of.
I know.
Not that one's better or worse than the other,
But we're totally going in the grass is greener on the other side kind of place.
And that's an hour. Yeah. Like, our perception may be like, oh, that would be so much easier to have that.
I'm actually
issue.
I'm prepared to try that one right now. Let's just go the other extreme. Go on. Give me the lesson of feeling too skinny. I'm ready.
I'm ready to accept this new lesson.
So, Erik, do you have any suggestions, any advice on, because I know that so many of us, I mean, we're humans, and this is one of the tools that our soul selves use to, overcome the shit. So what kind of, and I'll ask Dr. Ruth too, what is the a suggestion on how to beat this stuff?
He said that there's so many different
Okay.
There's so many because it's an individual. Like we can classify it and say body issues, but it's individual to the person.
I get it.
So there are so many different ways to do it. Generic across the board type answer. He says you have to the best of your ability, right? Like to the best of your ability, you have to put in the work, whether it's mental work or physical work.
Okay.
And sometimes changing one will affect the other, you know, whether it doesn't matter which one's first. But I mean, ultimately he says, you know, just sitting there wallowing in it, right?
That's pointless.
And it's not gonna serve a
Change it.
purpose.
Yeah, it might serve a purpose, but it's not gonna change anything.
You know, and it may not be, you know, some people may in 3 weeks be able to immediately make some mental change or physical change. For somebody else, it may be 3 years, you know, but as long as don't do away with the timetable.
Okay.
But not with the goal.
Okay.
Right? Like,
so I'm so pressured, you know, it's been like a year since I've stopped losing and I'm like, what's the holdup?
As long as you're still working on it, you're making progress, right? Like, and there's no time frame of when you should expect it to happen. It has to happen by this time. Like, I don't know, it's just like if you just keep with it and you keep making the progress, whether it's, you know, the mental or whatever your issues are, doing what you can to make you feel better about it, then the smallest step, right? You know, the smallest step helps.
Because I said, you know, when I pulled myself out of the depths of my awakening bullshit, I didn't come right out. It was itty bitty, teeny tiny incremental steps, and I did it. So don't give up hope. I haven't given up hope. I'm just, you know, asking for general information.
Yeah, and you know, he talks about, you know, how I told you I may have to travel for work, and I'm like, I told myself, I'm not gonna just sit in the hotel room. Like, I'm not gonna just be the wallflower in the corner. Like, I'm gonna go out on my own.
Oh my God, I'm gonna meet you there and go party with you.
Yeah, oh my God, please. Like, I'm trying to talk myself into getting out of old habits and being afraid to venture out and go and do things by myself. He said it's no different, right? Like, you got to put forth the action behind behind changing that fear. And how do you do that? Even if it's just going and walking around the city block by yourself, you're putting an action out there, being, you know, around people. Yeah. He also did say that the whole body issue type thing is, for the most part, a human being thing, whereas other races don't really have that.
True. Look at the Sarsar. They're like one size fits all.
Right.
We are all over the place because they don't choose to bring that kind of shit into their.
And he says even the races that aren't, I'm not saying exact copies, but even the races that are like uniform, in their appearance, or I'm sorry, the groups that are not uniform, right? That there is still variance, whether it's skin color, hair color, height, that it's still more so of a human thing than it is a them thing.
That reinforces to me that we do in fact choose to find self-love through our physical appearance. So all of the struggles that you have about your weight or your face or anything else, they're intentional and they're legit. So, you know, find a way to grow from that lesson that you chose to have yourself.
I'm just like, I keep telling myself, I was like, you know, next time I'm gonna, and I think a lot of people do this, they're like, in my next life, I'm gonna be a model, you know, like I'm gonna be loaded, I'm gonna be so rich and tall and you know, like, and he's Because that's what I always say, you know. He was like, and he says, to be honest with you, that probably won't be the case. Like, you know, because you're only saying that in the moment because it's kind of what you would aspire or you would like to at least experience that. He says, probably in your next life, you're still going to be a normal person. The odds are, you know, you're going to be a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, we all have played at some point.
Yeah.
We all have played a role to where we have been, you know.
Did Jason and I enjoy our quote perfection, or did we have our bullshit with that too?
You know, I know I enjoyed it. And I hope that I did everything.
Took advantage of it.
Or will do. I'm not sure if it's forward or backward. But I know that, yes, I know that I enjoyed it. You know, he talks about the is it Mariana?
Mariana, right.
Mariana didn't have, for the most part, those body issues. She, you know, like, because obviously, you know, people are paying her for it. So she was like, if they're going to give me money for it, they obviously want it. You know, it's like I'm obviously attractive.
I'll start charging them.
Yeah, right. That's the fastest way. Charge people for sex. Because if they pay you, they really want it.
Oh, my Maurice. What does Dr. Ruth say? Does she have some pointers about, I mean, what's your 2 cents, honey?
Part of her's like, and he's getting all smug. It's so weird because she's still over to this side like she was last time. And he's always over here. That's probably why she's standing over here. She said that he has given some good responses, and he's just like, I know. And why she would be. So she's referencing like the 60s,
okay.
like the hippies and like free love and like it's almost like getting that mindset, you know, because at that point, like, everybody was beautiful and like, our people felt beautiful that were kind of in that movement because everybody was so, like, I know, right? I'm like, drugs help. She was like, that's what floats you. It really is, because she really just wants people to feel empowered, right? And you know, last time we talked about, I feel like we talked about like the shame of having sex, of being sexual.
Yeah.
She's not talking about the shame of having sex. She says a lot of us feel shame about our appearance, right?
Yeah.
When I'm not gonna make her cuss, but she kind of tied back into what he said of, she keeps wanting to call you honey. She's like, honey, if they want to fuck you, they obviously like the way that you look, you know?
Well,
like,
I haven't found anybody to fuck me yet.
I know, well, she says you're not looking hard enough.
Okay. He's around the corner, I know he is.
She's talking about, you have one of the most powerful things on earth.
A vagina?
A vagina. She's like, the vagina holds so much power, not only physically, like with what it is capable of,
right,
but in a world that is, for the most part, sex driven. She says the vagina is way more powerful than the penis, right?
All right.
She's like, she really does. She's like, she says women are in control. Not to say that women not that women won't go crazy for a penis, or men for that matter, or whatever, you know, like whoever. She says the vagina is more powerful, like, because it's the receiving end, I guess, right? It's like, so you have all the power. You have the say so of yes or no. But She said, if you were to put the vagina out there and then put a penis out there,
Vagina's gonna win.
The vagina's gonna win.
Because the
The vagina's gonna.
pussy.
Yeah, right. The vagina is gonna have a line of people standing behind it waiting.
Okay.
Not that the penis won't have people, but the vagina line is gonna be the vagina line. Is gonna be longer.
I can't wait to, I'm hoping that people get some great mental images of what the dialogue is going on. Big line of powerful vaginas. Look out for us.
She's like, there's no reason for anyone. It's like, no matter what shape, size, form, color, whatever, there's no reason for you to feel. And she gets it. It's like, it is a human thing, and like, we're gonna have those human emotions. But ultimately, she's really just kind of expressing regardless of like, it's almost like, do yourself the favor of having if you choose to, right, like a sexual life, like, not a moment, but like a life, like,
I am.
Feel sexy, like, even if let's say that you don't like your body. She's giving that example, right? Let's say that I'm this woman and I'm not really happy with certain parts of my body, but the parts that I do like, so if I like my collarbone, she's like, wear a shirt that exposes the collarbone. Like, wear some, or if you feel pretty with like extravagant eye makeup or having your hair fixed a certain way, or wearing a certain outfit, like, take those opportunities to acknowledge the things about yourself that make you feel sexy, that you do like, because even people with body issues, there's still something that they like about right themselves. There's still a feature that they like, whether it could be that I'm funny, like I tell the best jokes. Well, you know what, then embrace that and go and be around people and tell those jokes, like, do whatever it is that is going to make me feel good about myself. Do whatever it is that's going to make you feel good about yourself, and then focus on those things.
Okay.
And that can help, right? Like, because then we're changing the focus of where we're shifting our thoughts to.
Okay, because even when I was with you, you know how the sea was broken and I peed 58,000 times. Well, the times that I didn't have you watch my purse for me, I'd take it with me and I'd fix my makeup, because I have become a makeup girl. I feel pretty in my makeup. Actually, I've been wearing too much lately. I've kind of toned it down today. People will notice that I'm not as bright. But that's absolutely true. I like to make myself, it feels good. I like my makeup. I like my sparkles.
My cousin Andrew saw our pictures, and he was like, who was that young girl you were out with the other night? I said, on you. I said, she is going to love you.
I do.
Love you.
Yes. Who was this person?
Yeah, my cousin Andrew.
I love you, Andrew.
Yeah.
I know, your caption was so funny. Don't hate us because we're beautiful. All this body image stuff, and you're thrown out there that we're beautiful. It was a pretty good picture.
It was a good picture, though. It was a really good picture.
Yeah. Got a lot of mileage out of that. Okay, so I want to talk about one other thing about sex, and this is personal again. This is twinny shit. And one of the things that happened in my awakening was my sex drive went out of control. Erik, is that something that is common for like the Kundalini awakening shit, for waking up, or was I just a super horny girl?
It's gonna be Dr.
Okay, yeah.
Ruth, right? It's not just one thing. So one is, she says, physically women come into their own sexually later in life than men. But yes, so that's kind of a natural part of it.
Okay.
Just the way that the female body and hormones and stuff like that. But there is with the Kundalini, right? The snake start. I mean, think about it. Where does it start at?
Your vagina.
In your case, the vagina, right? But so yeah, and it can create a higher sex drive.
I had a sex obsession. Whew.
Yeah, when you have the two things happening, and then she also says, with the dieting, And the feeling better about yourself. There's an emotional increase, right? Like it's almost, it's like oh, okay, you know what? My mind is ready now. My mind is ready for it, and the body's like, yeah, we are, like, yeah, we are ready. So it's a couple of things, but they all play a part
Okay. Well,
in the increase.
I want to address this then that may go along with that, because I didn't even put together that you get to I know that's true. I just forgot you get to a certain age, blow up. But when I was younger and I actually did have sex, I never achieved orgasm. I've had like 2 unassisted ones in my entire life. And it was, even when I would take care of business myself, it was a real challenge. And I truly had like the most muscular ass ever, because I have to flex every muscle in my body to reach that. It'd take forever. In fact, it became painful because I had to just go forever. Now I'm like this, multiples. What's the reason for that? And I'm asking not just for my personal information,
Right.
but I know that some women just don't come.
Yeah, and for them, well, it's twofold. For the most part, women in our society, and it's getting better, but women in our society are told that like masturbation is bad. It's weird. Like boys, it's just you make a joke about it. Girls, it's like, no, a lady doesn't do that, right? Like there's shame, kind of like shame that's kind of been brought up, more so directed towards women than it is men. So that could be part of it. She says the other part is that you're just not physically stimulating yourself correctly.
Okay.
Whereas like she's like, with a penis, the wind can blow and they're done. But with the vagina, like it can take, she said it doesn't have to, but it can take more work. And if someone doesn't know what they're doing, right? Like if someone doesn't know what they're doing to you and you are not being vocal and correcting them of this feels good, this doesn't, then it's never going to get better. And then then the mind starts coming in to it, right? Like a lot of it is, it's emotional. It's an emotional thing regardless of what the emotion is. But there's some type of emotional block, because unless you have a health problem, like, and you just are unable to, but she said that's typically not the case. It's typically the fact of it's our mind that won't allow us to, or they're not doing it right.
I think I just downloaded. Tell me what you think of this, Dr. Ruth. I kind of feel like I almost didn't feel worthy of it, because I'd be like, it takes too long, just forget it, skip me. Let's just do you. And now I'm feeling like I'm so worthy. I want mine too.
Right.
And when we had our last sex talk, and we were talking about how sex with the twins heals and goes back to source.
Right.
That was when you said that. Oh well, it's not just the energy of his orgasm; it's yours too. I went, because that wasn't even part of my expectations, that I get to have a good time too. So I'm like, I'm so looking forward to this. I get my turn at last. But I think I created my own mental blocks because I did not feel worthy. Does that ring true, Dr. Ruth?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It shouldn't be that. And this is me. Like I feel like there are times to where it's, there are times where you're just like, oh my God, but yes, I just need it now, right? Like, and it's not going to take any time at all. And then there are just
the right porn, and you're done.
Yeah, and then there are times where you're just like, oh my God, I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm just going to go to sleep. But I do think that the way you feel about yourself has a huge impact. Men just have a different reaction than women. Like men will have an orgasm, but a man may not be able to get hard, may not be able to get erect, right?
Yeah, okay.
Because of mental stuff. Whereas like a woman, you don't have to really worry about getting a
hard
hard
on.
on.
You're into it or not,
right?
You'll do it.
But your emotional block would then be the lack of the orgasm. The man is, you can't get an erection. And a lot of those, not that there aren't physical reasons for some people, but a lot of it is more mental. And I know that to be true, because I mean, not going to go into super detail, but let's say that person A that I have had a history with in the past, that, we're not together anymore, haven't been together, but like in the past, like it was good. Like it was good. And then whether I know it's my, like either my personal guilt or me still feeling some type of, I don't want to say anger, but like resentment, I guess, towards him for our situation in the past. But obviously, it doesn't make it bother me that much if we're still if that still happens every once in a while. But there will be times where I just can't, like, I can't do anything. And then if it's somebody different that I haven't had that past issue with, I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, so what happened here, right?
Interesting.
But I know that for me, it's all mental,
Uh-huh.
and he even said that one time. He said that's all in your head, and I was like, it is, like, it is. So it can go both ways,
Okay. That makes sense.
regardless of the gender. She just wants everybody. Well, and Eric's gonna root everybody on too, but she just wants everybody to. I don't want to say just go and have sex, but like, she wants people to embrace the power of them being themselves, right? And realizing that, she's like, look, she's like, I was what, 4 foot nothing,
God, you're kidding.
like, but do you not think that she still felt sexy?
I bet
She's like, every day. She's like, every day,
I love her. God, I can't wait to play with you on the flip side.
like, she's like, here I am, this, like for me, I was always cute because, oh, she's so
Yeah.
little,
Yeah, you weren't
like,
like a big leggy
yeah,
model. You're just this
yeah.
little cutie pie.
Her perception is like I was just this little cute Ruth, right? And
Right.
she's like, nope. She's like, you just don't know,
Ew,
like
leave it
she, like how she felt about herself, right? Like
Aw.
she didn't allow what other people thought of her or how they reacted to her.
I bet she's friends with
Um,
Jesus because that's what he
oh,
likes to
they
do
are.
with us. Dr. Ruth and Jesus BFFs. Love that.
Could you imagine? I'm like, when I die, can y'all come to the light? Can
Yeah.
both of y'all just come to the light and wait for me?
There's going to
And
be a huge party for us. There is.
she's gonna be like, I can just see her. She's gonna come up and hand me like a glass of champagne and be like, "Hey, you sexy bitch."
She is.
I'm gonna manifest it. It's
She's
gonna
going to
happen.
jump out of a cake for you.
But she wants people to feel empowered by being themselves. And I saw this video yesterday. This guy was it was a video of this guy. It was a reaction to him taking ayahuasca.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said at one point he started hearing a song. And he was like, and I realized it was my song. He was like, because what are we, or what does matter? It's just a vibration, right? Well, what is music? Music it's a vibration, right? It's the note that vibrates. He was like, I heard my song. And he was like, and he said, I knew that it was my song before, like prior to me incarnating, right? Like it wasn't a song that I heard it as a child. It wasn't a song that my mom sang me or whatever. It was, it was my being. Like it was me. Like I was the song. And he was
Wow.
like,
That's beautiful.
it was. And he was like, he's like, you hear people talk about how, oh, I'm the music or I'm the word. He's like, no, he's like, you're the song. You're the entire song. And we each have our own individual song.
Uh-oh.
And I know my battery's probably about to die.
Uh-oh. Okay, we'll wrap it up soon.
Yeah. So he was just like, honor your song and find the beauty in your own song. And I'm like, well, no shit. But yeah, that would be super easy if we could all just tomorrow immediately turn on the self-love dial.
Right.
And and Eric's like, he's kind of joking. He's like, like in the conversation we make it sound like it has to be something that you have to do immediately. He says the truth of the matter is that you're not going to do it until you're ready to do it.
Okay.
And it's not a pressure to, it's just just know that if you want to feel better about yourself, regardless of your situation, you can, because you can choose to feel better about yourself. And he says there are tons of support systems out there, whether it is a physical support system, or a more spiritual support system.
Okay.
Because the yes, there are lessons, but the ultimate lesson is to learn to love yourself, right? Like outside of everything else, it's to love, like love the experience, to love yourself, to understand that you have value, and the odds, let's just say the genetic odds of you looking the way that you look are, 1 in 100 million, like 1,000 million 1,000,000,000,000
Uh-huh.
billion, like, the genetically, the fact that that sperm hit the egg, and that part of his DNA and part of her DNA mixed together and created you, there's no one else like you. And he's like, unless you're an identical twin, but still, they may look the same, but they're still different. You
Yeah.
know, it's just we're all individuals for a reason, and even though yes, we are the whole and we are all one, but we are all individual aspects of.
Mhm.
So you should be honored to represent. One, it's easier said than done. I get it, but you should be honored to represent the expression of the whole in the way that you are,
That
and the
is
way
so
that you will
awesome.
be, right? And the way that you have been, because this isn't it. Like this isn't the only Jason. This isn't every Jason life has Jason look like this. That we've all, I don't know. He's getting all into the whatever, but
I
he's like,
like
just
that.
fucking love yourself. He's like, and take the steps to do what you need to do, to love yourself.
Yeah, and I think I'll wrap it up. I don't want to lose your battery. If you do, I'll keep going. But so don't beat yourself up, anybody. Understand that you
Right.
have reasons to look the way you do and to feel the way you do. And just like every other challenge that you face in this lifetime, it was a chosen challenge so that you can learn and grow from it. So I guess one of the biggest things I want to say is don't beat yourself up about not being where you wish that you were. Take steps to get there, like Eric.
He's singing the Christina Aguilera "You Are Beautiful," but he's not singing very well. But
I thought he was going
um
to sing Fat Bottom Girls.
but he's singing that "You Are Beautiful," that Christina Aguilera video.
Yeah.
And I think he's making a joke because he's singing so bad.
That's the kind of thing his brother would do. Lucas just starts belting out songs, Whitney Houston and shit. I'll have to put in that request and see if Lucas will sing to me. All right, Eric and Dr. Ruth, I am going to shut this down before I lose my partner. Any last words?
No, she says thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you for being so sweet, honey. She's going to be
she's
my
like,
honey.
anytime. Yeah, she is. She's ready. And she does say anytime you need any type of boost, right? Like a
Sexy boost.
encouragement. Yep. She says, well, Eric's like, well, you can call me too.
I'm going to call everybody to my sex party.
Yeah.
Help! It's going to be an orgy.
Yeah. She says thank you. He's just like, it was fun.
All right.
Yeah. And I still don't know I never figured out who the other person was.
Oh gosh, I hope you can get in before. I totally forgot about the mystery energy.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know that it's in the corner where the boys normally stand.
Right? Is it a space?
But I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But I'm not sure, and I don't think that they're gonna tell me.
Right.
But if I find out, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you for being my sex partner always.
Yeah,
and
always.
For always doing these silver lining shows with me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you so much. And I had such a nice time meeting you. You're big. You're like this big, solid chunk of man to hug. I like that. It was fun. And you treated me, you bought me a bunch of beers, and you took me to your favorite clubs and introduced me to your friends and took us on a little adventure. So remember that video? I'm going to tack this on too. That
okay, yeah.
Whatever has nothing to do with this video. But
oh yes, yeah. Slow Starness. Yeah.
Right.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. All right. So I'll see you in Minnesota or wherever we're going soon. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye, Carrie.
Bye.